Hello everybody, welcome back to Collecting and Hobbies. Today we are going to do a video that I kind of done before, but not really. This will probably be the most unique video that I've done yet. If you've seen my Hasbro Transformers video before, this is talking Transformers and kind of a Hasbro rant on quality control, then you kind of know what this is. Now recently I talked to, well, first of all, I'm a retailer. I buy stuff in bulk, I buy stuff in cases, and I buy cases in bulk. So we're talking if like the normal consumer would buy like maybe, I don't know, like one or two Hasbro Star Wars figures. I get them in a case assortment of 12 or so. For each case, that would be 12 products. Now, out of all of these products that I buy, and they're not just Star Wars figures, Transformers, whatever, they're, I mean, we're talking thousands. And if I were to actually call the 1-800 customer service number printed on the back of each package, the 1-800-555 number or whatever, if I were to call that number, that's just the regular consumer product place. That has nothing to do with retailers, wholesalers, or bulk orders or anything like that. If I were to call them and complain or tell them about just one figure or two figures, like normally packaging doesn't count to some extent. It depends on where you get it and how you get it. If you order it from a warehouse or Hasbro toy shop, from Hasbro.com, any of the places that you would expect it to come in mint and package and not like at a retail store, then packaging does count to some extent. So anyway, if you include packaging errors, like just really bad packages that come in case assortments where the cases are completely sealed, and especially we're talking like Marvel Legends, I get cases all the time where every single figure is just completely beat up in there. I mean, not the figure itself, but the package. There's dents and scratches all over the packaging and things like that. So if you include those, which by wholesaler standards, those would be considered defects, defective merchandise, because you can't sell it for its full market value, whether it's, you know, just retail value, $19.99. Anybody who wants to collect those at $19.99, the majority of the people who buy those are collectors. They don't have any intention of opening them, and so the packaging is very important. And so if you include packaging errors, not just manufacturer defects like paint jobs, paint apps, actual defects with the merchandise where it doesn't do what it's supposed to do or what it's designed or explained to do in the instructions or something like that, then we're talking something around the area of probably 55% of all Hasbro products are considered defective, and they're the second biggest toy company in the world. That's just simply not acceptable to anybody, and it shouldn't be acceptable to anybody. Even a paint flaw, if you have a paint flaw, say like you have a 6-inch action figure and you have a paint flaw like on Captain Phasma where there's just a big huge scratch of black on her silver armor, if it's takes away from the overall general aesthetic, if it's that bad or defective in a way to take away from the overall general aesthetic, it's actually considered a defective item. So Hasbro guarantees their items, every single one of them, for their regular consumers for at least a year. So if you were to call them and say, my Captain Phasma has a scratch on the leg, because it's only $20 or less, they'll just simply replace it. But another problem with the replacement, if they don't have that particular item, okay, if you didn't buy it from HasbroToyShop.com and have a receipt for it, and that particular order, okay, HasbroToyShop.com, they would send you a printing label or something like that, and you would send it back, and they would replace it. Now, if you buy it from a retail somewhere else besides HasbroToyShop.com, then they would simply ask you for certain information of where you bought it, what the purchase price, the date codes, the manufacturing codes on the box, UPC number, assortment number, item number, all that kind of stuff, just to prove that you have it. And they would send you another one for free. And if they have it in stock, which this is kind of the kicker, if it's in stock, it doesn't necessarily mean you get the same item, because if it's part of an assortment, if they have something else in that assortment, they'll send you something else in that assortment. So because the Hasbro 6-inch Black Series line, they changed the assortment number from there's the original Black Series 6-inch figures, the first two, the ones that were orange, and then there's the ones that were in blue. And then when The Force Awakens came out, they completely changed it, because before that they came in a case assortment of 4, so they changed the assortment number, and they even make them in a different factory now and have different, UPC and all that kind of stuff. So the Force Awakens line from 2015 has the same assortment number all the way up until now, which is 2017. So say you got a defective Rey figure, or Chewbacca. Chewbacca's not a figure that they still make. So if you were to get a defective Chewbacca, they wouldn't be able to replace it with a Chewbacca, but they'll send you something from the same assortment, which could be Rey, it could be Finn, Han Solo, anybody in that assortment, meaning all the way back from September 2015 all the way up to the current date, because they're all technically under the same assortment number. If you get a defective Darth Revan, they may send you a brand new Stormtrooper to replace it, which, of course, you'd probably be highly disappointed by that, because Darth Revan, extremely hard to find. He sells for, at one time he was going for $100, so he's down to about 43 right now, but he's still worth more than simple like Flame Trooper, which is you can get on clearance just about anywhere for $9.99. So if they send you a Flame Trooper for $9.99, when your original purchase was, say, a Darth Revan at a comic shop or wherever for $45, that's not really an even exchange, and that's not really. They'd have to send you 5 Stormtroopers or something just to make up for that, so you could get your money's worth back. I mean, technically they're the same thing as far as assortment goes. They're technically considered the same thing. It's still a 6-inch Black Series figure. It's not their fault, or not their has nothing to do with how in demand that figure is. They basically just send you a replacement figure, and you might already have 8 of those or something, because you bought them on sale at DorksideToys.com for $29.99 as a 4-pack. So you might have bought 2 of those and have already 8 of them, like I do. Which, if you, hint, I got a defective Darth Revan, had a broken arm, joint, and so they replaced it with a flame trooper, even though they were very specific that they told me that they wouldn't do that. They told me that they would keep it on back order as long as it needs to, up to 90 days until they got another one. But it's the only one that I opened, and I've already sold all the other ones that I've had. So those waves are extremely popular, and as of right now, I only have a few figures from even that wave. So anyway, so if I were to call up Hasbro right now, just out of curiosity, because I called them not too long ago, and just the regular consumer service department. I asked them, so what would I do with quality control issues? And they're like, well, you talk to us. And I said, what if I have more than one? And they're like, oh, that's fine. Just tell us how many things you got and what's wrong with them. It's like, what if it's like, what if I told you as a wholesaler I bought 5,000 items in the last year, and roughly 55% of them are defects? And they're like, does your wholesaler not guarantee anything? And I'm like, no, they don't. Wholesalers don't, because they only guarantee their products to be in the package, basically. It depends, really. There is if it's an exclusive, such as say Entertainment Earth exclusive. I've had similar things like the Imperial 4-pack that they came out with. I got one in the R2-D2 unit, or actually R2Q5, the black painted R2-D2. Basically, he was missing a piece. He didn't have one of the pieces in his head. That there's 3 pieces in his head that come out where you can attach accessories, because it's just a reissue of the same mold of R2-D2 that came with the accessories, but R2Q5 does not come with those. And so he's just got a hole in his head. And because I'm a retailer and I sell those, somebody ordered one from me, and they wanted just the R2Q5. I was selling them individually, and I opened it up, brand new, and there was a missing piece. So they did replace that. So, but normally, for the most part, anything that's not an exclusive, if you were to get it and there's the missing components or something, you would normally talk to the actual manufacturer. So it's a little bit different than ordering directly from, or getting it from retail. If you were to order like at Target.com or something like that, then you just send it back to Target, and if they have another one, they'll give it to you. If they don't, they give you a refund. So if you're like in my kind of situation, like a retailer, sometimes, say I'm not Walmart, I don't have an account where I can just defect something out, send it back to Hasbro, get credit. It's, well, to some extent, it's just a little bit different. But anyway, so I was thinking about, just see what they would say, tell them, it's like, 55% of your products are defective, because I just don't. Recently, just tell you a quick story. Recently, and I'll make it quick, I promise. Recently, I started collecting Transformers. I do not sell Transformers at this current time. I bought the first Transformers that I've had as a retailer in December 2016, and the very first one that I opened, and most of these are all they're all on my video channel, so you can actually see them. The very first one I opened was Silverbolt. He couldn't even hold his gun. His gun, I guess, is defective or something. So the very first Transformer I've opened since the 1990s was a defect. The second one that I opened, Hardhead. I've seen many reviews where people are just rolling around and stuff like that. He's supposed to roll. He's a tank. He has 3 wheels on the bottom of him. and one of the wheels isn't connected because it's not molded properly. So the second transformer that I bought, or that I've opened in the last, the very second transformer I've opened, he's a defect. So I'm already 2 for 2 in defect categories just in transformers alone. The third one I opened was Scourge. He doesn't have any kind of wheels or rolling ability. He's just kind of ugly looking because he looks like an old man robot sort of. But I kind of like him in his boat configuration. I don't think I've actually tried to put anybody on him. He has these 2 pegs that stand up. I think they're actually too small. I think I tried before. I don't remember. They're kind of in a weird position to where the robot's feet are too big to actually really stand on it. I'd have to try it again, but as far as I know, you know what? I can pause this and check it out. So I'll do that real quick. Okay, so this is being shot with my tablet, which is... There's the 2 pegs I'm talking about. These little pegs that stick up. Now they're very close to the actual mold at the end. And look how big the feet are on this transformer. This is the actual head that it comes with that transforms into a little robot. Now that, as far as I can tell, it might be a little bit too big. So I'm going to actually try it on camera. Okay, so if you angle it properly, if you do it at a certain angle, then yes, you can actually get one to stand. Sorry that this is low quality. I didn't have any intention of actually filming anything, just doing audio basically. Now this is Chrome Dome right here. Another robot. Okay, so Chrome Dome, they go on there somewhat, I mean, I'm kind of surprised Chrome Dome didn't fall off. He's a little bit looser, but yeah, he does fit, technically. He's a little bit looser though, but they do stay on there a little bit. They're not really in the greatest of positions, and but so technically this one I wouldn't consider this to be. Oh, he just came right off. He didn't even. There's no friction to that at all. Let's see if I can stand him the other way. Maybe it's his foot. There we go. Yeah, that's what I thought. See, that one particular hole in his foot just wasn't as... You can't really see this too much anyways, but anyway, so technically there's not really a defect with that particular figure. So I think that he would be the first of my Transformers. Sorry this got long because I did that video, but so technically he would be the first of the first 3 Transformers I open. He'd be the first one that doesn't have technically a defect. So the first 2 were defects. He didn't have anything wrong with them, mainly because he doesn't have wheels, and because the next one, Chrome Dome, he does have wheels, and I've seen people with him, probably like 50% of them or 75% of them roll, and the other ones don't. So if you were to call Hasbro and tell them, they would probably consider that a defect. Actually, I have already mentioned it to them, and they asked me if I wanted another one, and I said no, that's alright, because I don't know how many times they're going to let you do that. According to them, it's unlimited, but I highly doubt they're going to send something like, out of all the things that I've actually opened, we're talking probably over 100 items, just the ones that I opened, because a lot of this stuff I simply didn't open because I could tell it was defective, or, well, I could tell it had a bad paint job, or not up to my standards. It didn't have a perfect paint job. So, because when I told them, it's like, we're talking like at least 150 items. And they're like, well, I'll get a piece of paper and write it down. It's like, seriously? You're going to send me 150 replacements? It's like, honestly, I don't think you have 150 items on your Hasbro Toy Shop website that I would even accept as replacements or in stock. It would probably take you a year and a half to get the items in stock just to replace them. And I mean, according to them, you could do it, but I would just assume that they would. It's like returning something to a store. You get like 3 returns a year or something like that. But okay, if Hasbro is willing to do that, then that's some pretty good customer service. But at the same time, if they can't replace the item with the one that you want, then it's like, so you're kind of buying at your own risk. It's like, so that's what really sucks about them, is about Hasbro, is basically, so you see something you like, it's made by Hasbro, so if you don't buy it at full retail price or secondary market like on eBay where it could be double or triple, then even then you're taking a risk. Because I bought I sell Marvel Legends, and some of the X-Men figures that I ordered never came in. Ever. They were supposed to be here in July of last year, and they still haven't been shipped to me. And they're still on order. But Walmart has them. They've been getting them. Matter of fact, they're on clearance now. They've already clearanced them out. They don't even make them anymore. And I never even got mine. And so, yeah, that's another part of them, distribution. Same with the Transformers, what I just showed you, that's called a deluxe class. The hardhead was the green tank, who's in my other video, and yeah, they've been out of him for so long, I just accepted a replacement of a different figure instead, because they're saying, well, we put it on hold for 90 days, and so they'll just, I think if you don't get something within 90 days, they send you either coupons, like $3 off coupons, and the amount of the purchase price, which, you know, $3 off of like 6 different items. That's kind of retarded, but at least they do, I guess, something. But so if you buy something by Hasbro and it's not perfect, it's almost like you have to open something and test it in the store before you buy it. 55% of them, something's wrong with them if you include packaging. And that's just ridiculous. So, again, I've always told I've always told people on YouTube, complain to Hasbro. Keep complaining to Hasbro. Complain to Hasbro as much as you possibly can. And maybe then they'll start putting out products that work, that, you know, maybe they'll do something about quality control. Obviously, this quality control problem, it has probably, I mean, the problem itself is in Vietnam or China, where they manufacture the merchandise, because that's where it comes from. So the people who are in charge there are obviously not doing their jobs. So, or they're putting things out so fast that they don't quality control them. So the primary source of the problem is actually overseas. But you have managers, because Hasbro is an American company, obviously you have people in charge of those people in America that they basically need to fire the people that are in quality control down there. Find someone better that actually does their job. And then there won't be so many problems. And after noticing this, this has been basically since the last year, not even the last year, even in the last 6 months alone. 55% of their merchandise is messed up. Over half. And normally the 6-inch Black Series figures, they before they were, how do I put this? Before they switched them to the Force Awakens packaging, the red and black, when they just had the matte black boxes, before they switched them to the Force Awakens packaging, they were much worse than they are now. When they switched it to the red and black, they put kind of a laminated gloss to it, and that helps it. And those figures in general, every now and then you'll get cases where they're just all beat up, but the majority of them, at least package-wise, are not messed up anymore. I'd say probably 80% of the ones that you buy, they're in 90% or better packaging. So as far as paint jobs go, though, for 6-inch Black Series, that's like a whole nother subject, because they rarely have perfect paint jobs. And then if you say you get one that doesn't look to really have any major issues, if you were to hold another of the exact same item next to it, you'd see paint differences. Like one might be painted better, like say Kylo Ren. Two of them together, one of them might have like a better looking belt buckle, one of them might have a better looking head, like with the paint and silver paint on his helmet. If you compare them side by side, and a whole bunch of them side by side, you probably would go through quite a few of them before you found one that you really liked that was painted perfectly everywhere. But as far as messing up on, like I said, it has to deter from the overall general aesthetic. So if we're talking general aesthetic altogether, major paint flaws, or just like a huge splotch of silver on his leg or something, when it's clearly supposed to be only in a tiny place on his belt buckle or on his helmet, then those type of accidents don't really happen often. They've been doing a lot better with the Black Series as far as that goes. Now, as far as Stormtroopers go, which are basically just a white action figure with a little bit of black paint here and there, those look pretty bad. A lot of those look not so great. There's a lot of, a 5-year-old can paint that. Literally. And, you're only painting a little bit of, and it's not always on the head either. It's like there'll be blank spots in between their joints, like in their arms or their boots or wherever, where the black part is exposed, where it's not covered by armor, where it's just not painted black when it should be, or it's painted at an angle where it's part white, and it's just not right. So the Stormtroopers could definitely use an improvement. As far as, when they were shooting out Boba Fett's, when they were putting out Boba Fett from the 6-inch Black Series and the STCC exclusive, and shortly after that, a couple waves into it, the second wave of the 2013 ones, those Boba Fett's looked awesome. They looked, I haven't seen, if you compare them next to each other, yeah, there would be differences. Especially like in the dent in his helmet, each one would be painted slightly different. It was almost like, you could tell that they were hand painted because they were all different, but they all looked good, And if you only had one, and you only got one, and you only saw one, you probably wouldn't be disappointed because it would look good enough, And they look great overall. So what happened? So as far as Hasbro, I guess you'd call this a rant video too, but I'm going to call them again tomorrow. This is Super Bowl Sunday, February 2017. I'm going to call them up tomorrow. And because when I bought these Transformers, I bought a whole bunch kind of in one small period of time. I got a bunch of them. Like I just showed you, that Scourge, he was the only one in the deluxe class that really didn't have any problems. There's another one called Highbrow, which I often call Trigger Happy on accident. He's a helicopter, but when you split his feet apart, it's very obvious. It's like his feet are two different pieces. They're screwed together somewhere around the knees, but there's nothing really holding them together below that, and you could tell that they're two different pieces. It kind of looks like an earthquake, like a crack up his feet, and I mean you could see through it. You can see the wall through on the other side, but they're all like that, and I don't like that. But well, maybe not all of them, but there's a lot of them that look like that. There's few figures that have issues like that, and I told Hasbro about that too, because I do a lot of quality control. I always mention these things, but it's almost like they're falling on deaf ears. It's like I'll send them emails, videos, and stuff like that. It's not. I mean, they send me stuff to review. I'm part of their consumer review product program, and it is just ridiculous. But as far as the little figures go, the $4.99 figures, like the little Grimlock that I did a review on, actually his name's Overboard. I just posted those videos recently. I shot them January 11th. I just posted those like a couple of days ago in February. And the Dinobot looking figures, the Patero and Overboard, from the 4-inch, or they're actually like 2.5 inches tall, almost 3 inches, something close to that. I'm starting to call them kind of like mystery minis, because you don't know what they're going to do. Because unless you watch the reviews on YouTube before you buy them, because there's nothing on the packaging that shows what they do. You don't know what they do technically. You just gotta figure it out. And obviously, if you open the instructions, it'll show you. But those are inside the package. So to me, I consider them, to make it more. I mean, mystery minis cost like $7.99 to $8.99 each, and they don't do anything. They're just little, basically statues, painted plastic statues. Suicide Squad ones move their head. There's a couple of series that have movable heads. That's it. They don't do anything. And if they're $8 a piece, and the Transformers that actually transform somewhat, $4.99, then that's really, to me, a lot better of a deal, because I just consider the mystery minis that actually move. And they have those little robots like I just showed you, that they're called Titan's Return, but they're real small. They're only $5, $4.99, and but they all come with a little Titan's Return robot, and basically it's just a little headmaster looking thing that I just showed you in the Scourge when I put it on that vehicle. And they're basically those tiny little robots, and then they have basically kind of a vehicle that transforms. And they're 3 modes. Most of them, as far as I know, they're all 3 modes. So the one that looks like Grimlock, he looks like Grimlock in one mode. He looks like kind of like Laserbeak or something, like a vulture type thing in the other mode. And then the really kind of stretching it mode, you pull down this little handle and make him kind of stationary on one place, and he's supposed to look like a gun. Same with the pterodactyl one. So, but anyway, what I was saying, with those I don't have any issues with. I haven't had any problems with those. They have perfect paint applications. They don't have any joint problems. Even the packaging is perfect. So, I mean, they're taped up in there because they're so small. They obviously don't want kids to just rip them out and steal them. And so not only are they glued down with the original plastic bubble that covers them up, but they're also taped all the way around. So yeah, you had to be a pretty strong kid just to open it. You have to have scissors almost to open those. I mean, if you're 10 years old, of course, you probably rip it to shreds. Or, I mean, if you really wanted to rip the thing to pieces, but that'd be kind of obvious. It's not something where you just gently tug on the bubble and take it out if you're a little kid or something. So, as far as those go, perfect 10s. As far as the actual merchandise and stuff like that, whether or not it's cool or looking or whatever, but as far as defective stuff, no, there's nothing defective about those. There's a perfect 10. So Hasbro finally scored some perfect 10s, which is wonderful. And maybe that Scourge, but I mean, like I said, the Scourge kind of looks like an old geezer, his head does. And those little robots are, they're super tiny and they're kind of stretching it as far as their modes go. Because you have to use the Headmaster, the Titan Master figure, to complete Grimlock's jaw, which is kind of crazy. And you even, I mean, they're stretching it basically, but for $5 they're little toys that they're almost like McDonald's Happy Meal toys, and but they're maybe a little better. So at least they don't have any defects. Wow, it's turned into a 37-minute video. I thought it would be maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Okay, the lights are not on, but I can show you real quick what I'm talking about. Possibly. See, you actually have to have the bottom. Yeah, I don't even know if you can see that. The bottom of his jaw is the feet of the robot that go inside of him. You can see it a little bit. I'll show you some other time. And those little arms that stick out, those are the arms of the Headmaster. I like this guy. He's cool. Once I figured out how to actually get him together, I like him. And there's that little peg I was telling you about. Right here. You just thumb that down. And then, pull these feet down like this. Like so. I've already done a review of this guy. So basically like this is basically supposed to be like a gun. And put it in someone's hand. But anyway, this is a really super long video. Probably fast forward it. I'll probably not even post it. Maybe, I don't know, or do it over. So it's not so long. Alright, well, that's it. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. Call up Hasbro, complain as much as possible. Get your stuff, get what's coming to you on how it should be. And see you next time.